whoever did not fast the month of Ramadan due to a cause or not, it is obligated upon this individual to make up those days throughout the year, throughout that year of Ramadan, from one Ramadan to the next. The only days that that individual does not or is not allowed to fast are the days of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, those days. However, there are exemptions to that rule. There are 3 exemptions to speak of. The first one is the individual who is sick, so the individual whose ailment persists from one Ramadan to the next. So I could not fast during this month of Ramadan due to an ailment, and that ailment persisted until next Ramadan. Again, is unable to fast through the days of the year. So throughout the days of the year, this individual could not collectively fast the whole month. So he could not, or she could not fast 5 days here, 10 days there, 3 days there, 1 day here. So throughout the year, this individual could not fast collectively. In this case, it is required to give a fidya, to give something, to give 3/4 of a kilo is the amount, 3/4 of a kilogram of ta'am, as we said earlier, instead of every day missed. The second exemption is seniors, our brothers, our fathers, our mothers, our grandparents, who cannot fast, or that fasting causes them difficulty and perplexity. Those individuals, it is not obligated, it's not obligatory upon them to fast the month of Ramadan, nor is it required for them to make up those days. However, they pay fidya in the case that they are not excused from not fasting. So in the case that their breaking the fast is not excused, then they pay fidya. Otherwise, if it is properly excused, then there is no issue to speak of. The third individual is the one who is afflicted with the ailment of thirst. It's a specific type of ailment where this individual would drink water and yet is not quenched. This individual is not obligated upon them to fast. However, they follow the same criteria as the senior, our second exemption. Continuing on, other individuals that may be exempt are pregnant women who are expecting, so not pregnant women in the first month or in the first trimester and what have you. Pregnant women who are expecting under the condition that the fasting causes harm to them or to their child. So if they know that the fasting causes harm to them or to their child, then it's not obligated upon them to fast. Also, our sisters who are breastfeeding, women who are breastfeeding, under the condition that they do not produce much milk, then our women, our sisters who are breastfeeding, who do not produce much milk, then it is, and also, not only do they not produce much milk, that fasting will causes her or her child harm, then she is not obligated to fast. Now it is permissible, as we said, for her to break her fast. However, it is obligated upon her to make up those days as well as pay fidya, which we referred to earlier. Continuing on, whomever does not make up their fast as a recommended precaution during the first year. Now, what we're saying here is that this individual should make up their fasting, the days that they did not fast, throughout that year, before the following Ramadan comes. However, does not do so before the following Ramadan, and if the individual neglects doing so on purpose, keep this in mind, on purpose, the individual should give kafara. The kafara is 3/4 of a kilogram of ta'am, and as a necessary precaution, even if the delay was not on purpose. I think that's clear. Continuing, it is not permissible to break the fast of the fasting that is done to make up for one of the days of Ramadan if that is done after noon hour. Let me explain this a bit. If the individual, so say that today I am making up my fast for a day that I missed in Ramadan, and it has passed the noon hour, I cannot break my fast at this point because it is the day of Ramadan, or it's making up for the day of Ramadan. If I do so, then there are conditions for doing so. Now, the kafara for this is giving 3/4 of a kilogram of ta'am, of food, to 10 individuals instead of just one. So we have to keep that in mind. 10 individuals. And again, we said these individuals have to be in need, not just anybody. And if the individual is unable to give that much, then the individual must fast 3 days in replacement of the 1 day. So this is 10, you feed 10 individuals. And instead of the 1 day that you broke your fast, afternoon hour deliberately, you broke your fast deliberately, and it's a day that you're making up for Ramadan, then you have to feed 10 individuals. If you cannot do that, then it's fasting 3 days for each day that you have broken. It is not permissible to fast recommended fastings. If you are owed a day of Ramadan, if you are owed an obligated day of Ramadan. So mustahab fasting, recommended fasting. If you have an obligated day or two upon you, you cannot fast a mustahab fasting unless you first fast the obligated fastings of Ramadan specifically. However, if the fasting is done for such thing as fasting for kafara or fasting from other than Ramadan, then it is not an issue. Inshallah, that will end our discussion and the provisions of Ramadan. We will end on this note. I ask you and all my brothers and sisters that are watching this to remember me and my parents in your prayers, inshallah. I hope that you enjoyed our episodes and our lectures. If you have any questions, by all means, don't hesitate to forward your questions. Send us your questions by any means, whether on Facebook, whether on YouTube, whether calling the channel directly, by any means necessary, and we will be at your service. I ask Allah to bless us all and that we are all rewarded for this holy month of Ramadan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.